Well, hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Adventures of Mobile Homes podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Hernandez, aka Mobile Home Girl of adventuresofmobilehomes.com. Thank you so much for joining me here on the 83rd episode of the podcast. So today, I want to share with you a portion of an expert video interview that I recently did for members of my support page with Alex Plam, a real estate agent specializing in mobile homes with ocmobilehome.com, where we talk about the ins and outs of searching for mobile homes online as a lead generating strategy. Now, in this interview, you'll learn about the different resources and sites out there to help you in your search for buying mobile homes online. Plus, you'll learn the differences between these sites, which are dedicated to listing and selling mobile homes online, including the pros and cons of using them. We also get into different topics in the interview, including how to find investor-friendly agents to work with as a mobile home investor, industry tips on what agents look for when working with investors, Alex's thoughts on wholesalers and how investors should approach real estate agents if intending to wholesale mobile homes, including his perspective on wholesalers and their role, and so much more. And also, for anyone interested, Alex shares the process of being licensed as a real estate agent, specializing in the mobile home industry. He goes over the benefits of being a licensed agent and a mobile home investor at the same time, including how to work with mobile home parks and how to build up a business as a licensed real estate agent in the mobile home industry. So check it out. Here it goes. Hi, y'all. This is Rachel Hernandez, aka Mobile Home Girl of adventuresofmobilehomes.com. So today I've got a special expert interview for all the supporters and members of my support page, just for you. I've got Alex Plam here, who is a real estate agent based in Orange County, California. Basically, I grew up in Orange County, California. For those of you who have been following me for a while, you know that I am actually an alumni of UC Irvine in Irvine, California. So I wanted to interview Alex today to talk about all things how to search for mobile homes online. He is a licensed real estate agent in California, in Orange County, and his website is ocmobilehome.com. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Alex.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on the show to talk about all things how to search for mobile homes online. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do, your area of expertise, how you got started? Because I know you do list, you work with mobile home buyers based in Orange County. So just let us all know more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually grew up in Northern California near San Francisco.
Okay.
And my dad is also a real estate agent. He works in the Sacramento area. And for probably, I'd say about 4 or 5 years now, he's been specializing specifically in mobile homes. And he's built an amazing team up there. And I think they've done something like 250 mobile home transactions since 2020 or so. So they're really kind of dominating up there. So I was living up there for most of 2021, and took the opportunity to train with him and to kind of shadow him and be a part of his team and learn from him. The hope was that I would eventually move down to Orange County. So he knew that going in that, it would be kind of training unto, starting my thing down here. My wife is from Orange County. So we moved down here about a year ago. But yeah, that was kind of my introduction into mobile homes. And really for my dad, it was something where he saw an opportunity where it was a niche that was pretty unexplored by most agents. There was, demand from buyers. People were interested in these homes, but a lot of agents sort of scoffed at them or set them aside as, not valuable to them for whatever reason. And he saw a huge opportunity there because he was like, these are in demand and they are valuable. So, that was the main thing. And he's seen a lot of great success there, and so I thought I would bring that down here and yeah, kind of expand on my growing passion for mobile homes as well.
That's great to hear. Now, my question about your father is he listing mobile homes or working with mobile home buyers with mobile homes in the communities as a personal property or actually out on land as real estate or both, you know?
Yeah, good question. I would say probably 95% or so is mobile homes that are situated within a park. So there are those land lease fees and everything. He does do residential real property as well, but the majority of his deals are, yeah, personal property within a park.
This is great because this is a specific niche. This is basically how I got started. I still work with the mobile home parks, the mobile home communities in the parks. I've done a couple deals because I'm wholesaling now. I just closed on a deal in a mobile home park where the home had to get moved out of the park. So
Right.
I'm still doing that, but I also do land transactions as well too, wholesaling mobile homes on land. But this is very good for the audience here because a lot of them are doing transactions in these communities. So you can you take me through what specifically you focus on in Orange County? Are you going to be just taking the same steps as your father by focusing? Is that what your focus is now in the parks in terms of, working with these mobile home buyers and sellers?
Yeah, yeah. My kind of method is a little bit different than his. There's a lot more emphasis on social media, but yes, that's the main thing. I do residential deals as well, but the majority of my focus is with mobile homes. I primarily work with sellers, but I do work with buyers as well. There's a lot of crossover there, and I'll get more into dual agency later. But sometimes there's a time when I would represent a seller and a buyer in a transaction. But yes, that would be my focus.
Okay, great. So we've got investors, here watching this. So can you walk us through how can a real estate investor work with or even find an agent to work with who specializes in mobile homes? Or if they wanted to work with you, what is your recommendation in terms of someone brand new? They want to work with an agent, or they may want to work with you, and their approach as an investor. Do they have to have all their financing lined up, or is it just kind of a conversation that you have over the phone, doing a meeting face to face? How does that work if an investor wants to work with an agent like yourself?
Yeah, for sure. So, it's going to be different for every agent. But a lot of times agents will want, securing financing to be kind of the first step there. So, there's a lot of mobile home lenders out there that will lend specifically on mobile homes. So, yeah, a lot of agents will say, hey, why don't we start out with mobile home financing first and get that all secured? Um, some agents will say, don't worry about it. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So it kind of depends. For me, it depends on the situation and what they describe to me in terms of their qualifications and where they're at in the process. So there's a degree of sort of confidence there that I weigh in how I go about that. But oftentimes I will encourage people to secure that financing at the start. Of course, if they're not a cash buyer. And part of that too is that, and this might be unique to Orange County or California, but a lot of sellers will actually ask their listing agents to confirm that a buyer has secured financing prior to viewing a home. Sometimes that's their stipulation, which is valid because, especially over COVID, we were, seeing houses getting 20, 30 offers, and it was just crazy. And,
Mhm.
sellers needed to make sure that what was coming through was trustworthy. So it depends, I guess, is the answer. But a lot of the time, I will encourage a buyer to secure financing at the start.
Okay, so let's talk about financing because we're talking about used mobile homes. I mean, there's financing for new mobile homes. How would an investor secure financing for a used mobile home? I mean, working with you, do you have lenders that you work with already, or is just a matter of they just need to contact their bank or credit union or see what's out there in terms of do they need to do it on their own, or is this something that you can help investors with?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so at least I can speak mostly to California and Orange County specifically. So I usually in Orange County, I usually recommend a company called Santiago Financial, and they specialize in mobile homes, and they actually have an office here in Orange County. But in terms of California, there's kind of three main creditors that will lend on mobile homes. So that would be 21st Mortgage, Triad, and Credit Human. So it's also possible for a buyer to just go to those companies directly. But there's a lot of mortgage loan officers that are qualified to, submit applications to those companies, and they understand how the underwriting goes. But yeah, the lending for mobile homes, at least in California, it's not super abundant in terms of creditors. So if someone were to simply call U.S. Bank or Citibank or their own banking, it's more than likely that they'll say that they don't do what's also referred to as chattel loans, which would be not secured by land. It's easier if the home is secured by land. So you could, often find a conventional loan or, even sometimes FHA and VA loans if the home is considered real property. But as far as personal property, you'll have to essentially go through one of those, main creditors that deals with that specifically.
So typically, because I've had a lot of people ask about financing, what are you seeing typically for an investor? I mean, there's different rates and different down payments for investors versus homeowners, but we're talking about investors here in terms of down payment. Is it pretty much 15, 30-year term, or does it really depend on the lender? I mean, is it 10%, 20%, 25%, or is it really all across the board in terms of like what is in it for the investor, what they have to put down and all that? So
Yeah. So, in terms of like if it's a regular buyer who's intending to live in the home and maybe do a slow flip or fix it up over time, but they're applying as, a homeowner, usually I'll see a minimum of 5% down is required. And that is dependent on credit as well. So a lot of lenders I'll see, it'll say minimum 5% down with an asterisk that says 720 credit score or better, or, something along those lines, or, 700 or better. So sometimes I will see them require 8% down, 10% down. Often it just depends on, the credit of the borrower.
okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, financing is a question that I get a lot of times from folks. Have you seen other alternative ways people have gotten financing other than going to these traditional lenders for mobile homes? I mean, have you seen like examples of partnerships or private lenders? And I guess my third question is, how do you deal with, or do you even deal with, because I know owners usually typically, unless they're super motivated, they don't want to do owner financing.
Yeah.
Are those, I mean, even in this climate right now where things are still selling, is that something that you see from time to time, or is just most of the time does the owner just want to get cashed out at this point? So.
Yeah, I'd say the vast majority they're just trying to sell it quickly, especially in this market right now. Pretty common reasons for selling is what they call the three Ds: death, divorce, and debt. So a lot of times these sellers are trying to part with their property as quickly as they can. Some alternative situations I've seen. So my dad has done some investment properties up in the Sacramento area, where he will partner with an outside investor who says, "Hey, I've got this lump sum of cash, and I will, pay the money for the mobile home. I'll fund the remodel, and then, I'll pay you a fee and everything." And then they can, kind of package a deal together like that. And a lot of times that would mean that investor would be the person on title for the home because they're the one fronting the cash. Or perhaps it could be a gift fund, but yeah, that's one option I've seen. Definitely partnerships is possible. Another would be a hard money loan. So that's if you just need to put in a cash offer, and let's say you're flipping a mobile home and you want to get in and get out in 3 months before that interest really starts biting you, then that's an option. But as we all know, hard money loans are very high interest loans. So for most folks, that's going to be a deal breaker. And we will probably talk more about land lease fees, but especially in Orange County, land lease fees are very expensive on mobile homes. And so your clock is ticking, as your interest is accruing on that hard money loan, or maybe the interest you're paying to a private lender, you're also paying that space rent, which is sometimes $2,000 or $3,000 a month. So there's a lot of factors that go into making sure that it's a wise financial decision. And there are situations where it does make sense, but it does require kind of careful research to make sure it's going to be right for you.
I had a student, I remember, they bought a home. It wasn't in Orange County, it was Los Angeles. It was years ago. And I was coaching them, and they bought a home for $4,000
Wow.
in a park in Los Angeles. And they're like, Rachel, this is such a great deal. The only problem is the lot rent is crazy high.
Yeah.
At that time, this was years ago, it was $1,000 a month. So for you to
Right.
tell me now it's 2 or 3,000 a month in California,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, that's a premium for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, the clock is definitely ticking in these types of scenarios. I also have people who've actually gotten loans, but it's more of a personal loan
Yep.
from their bank for, it's unsecured for these homes as well too. Have you seen that? Some clients do that as well too, on the purchasing side?
I've never personally dealt with a transaction like that, but I do know that it happens. And yeah, going to be a very similar situation to that hard money, situation where that interest is going to really bite you if you don't move quick.
Yes, exactly. I did have they were the parents of the daughter who purchased from me, and they just took it out of their they had a Morgan Stanley account. So they had to liquidate a portion. So they did it that way, but it wasn't a personal loan, actually. It was just their funds for
Right.
retirement. So we had it that way. All right, so we talked about financing. Let's back it up here. Let's talk about lead generation, because the internet's here, we're in the 21st century. A lot of people have asked me, Rachel, do you search for mobile homes online? It's time to get with the times, but I'm still a local investor. I still do things the old fashioned way. I still network, but I wanted to bring you on the show to talk about, searching for mobile homes online, what you had to say about that as a lead generation source, what people can do, and is it worth it? What are the pros and cons of doing it? And we'll talk about your site and other sites out there. What's the differences between them? So if you could let us know about that.
Yeah, for sure. So in terms of searching specifically for mobile homes online, mhvillage.com would be, probably the leading platform. There's also mobilehome.net. I'm familiar with a site called MHPOA, I believe. I think they focus more on parks. But yeah, there are a few platforms out there that are, specifically tailored towards mobile homes. Kind of the main hang up with those is that they're for sale by owner platforms. So they don't have active MLS integration. So that would be kind of a key difference between platforms like that and platforms like Zillow and Redfin, is that with Redfin and Zillow, and homes.com, things like that, you're going to have that active MLS integration. So every 15, 30, 60 minutes, you're going to have, new listings coming onto the site. Kind of the sticking point is that those mobile home specific websites have criteria that's more tailored to mobile home searches, right? So they'll probably outline a little bit more about the park that it's in, some more about the land lease, and information that's critical for mobile home purchases. With Zillow and Redfin and those platforms being primarily residential platforms, they will include some of that information, but not all of it. So it's a helpful resource, but I think there's I think a good strategy is sort of balancing both. If you can be getting information from both platforms about a single property. But yeah, with MH Village, it's not going to be a complete directory of everything that's for sale in your city, because it's up to whether the owner wants to post their home for sale. Agents can also post on there on the behalf of the owner. So sometimes you'll see something that's on Zillow and on MH Village because the agent has put it up on MH Village and maybe provided supplemental information, but it's not a guarantee that you'll see them on both. So there's pros and cons. I think, and we'll talk about my site a little bit more later, but that was part of the reason I wanted to build a site, was because I saw holes in some of these platforms. And, I found that they were a bit incomplete in some ways for people that were looking for mobile homes. But, at this point, I think.
So there you have it. A portion of an expert interview that I recently did for members of my support page with Alex Plant, a licensed real estate agent specializing in mobile homes of ocmobilehome.com, on the ins and outs of searching for mobile homes online. Now, in the interview, we get into so much more in-depth information about the mobile home industry and how mobile home investors can be successful searching for mobile homes online as a lead generating strategy, including how to work with and find investor-friendly agents in the industry today. Because let's face it, times do change, and with the internet, it's definitely a tool that can help us as mobile home investors to help find motivated sellers to buy mobile homes from, as well as buyers or renters who may be looking for mobile homes to buy or rent out. I'm telling you, there's so much information packed in this interview. And the best part, Alex has agreed to make himself available to members of my support page with any questions that they might have. In fact, he's made his contact information available to members on my support page in order to help members out with their questions. Now, this expert interview is just one of the perks of becoming a member on my support page. And as a member, you'll get exclusive access to regular training classes like this on different topics around mobile home investing, and access to detailed posts where I go into more detail about specific topics within mobile home investing that you won't find anywhere else. I'm telling you, this is exclusive content and behind the scenes footage on my own mobile home investing business. Plus, you'll also get discounts to special events. And here's the kicker: discounts to my existing courses and classes, including a special extra discount to my Dodd-Frank and SAFE Act course, especially for mobile home investors, just for members of my support page. So you definitely don't want to miss out on this special deal. And that's not all. I actually just added a new private podcast as a perk of becoming a member. Now, this private podcast is only available to members of the support page, where I go over the behind the scenes of my own mobile home investing business, including other projects that I'm working on. In fact, I just published the first episode of the private podcast recently, which I'll link up here in the show notes. Honestly, the membership is a way for you to get ongoing training as a mobile home investor, learn the ins and outs of what exactly I'm doing right now to make money as a mobile home investor, get mobile home leads that I pass on, which I actually just had 2 come up from a for sale by owner that I just sent to my members, and get discounts to upcoming classes and trainings, including my new coaching program coming very, very soon, especially for mobile home investors. And most importantly, staying in contact with me directly and other members through the Discord community, which is yet another perk of being a member of the support page. And let me tell you, we've got a lot of interesting conversations and topics that we're talking about in the Discord community. It's so great to see what everyone's been up to with their own mobile home investing business, including the recent deals and answering any questions members might have. It's been great getting to know all the members in the Discord community, which you'll have access to me directly as a member. Sign up as a member today. Go to www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/support for more information on how you can support me and become a member, including all the perks that you'll get that I just mentioned. And if you're already a member on my support page, be sure to check out this expert interview and let me know what you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts and answer any questions that you might have. And stay tuned as I've got more expert interviews lined up for the future. Exciting stuff all. And speaking of the support page, I just want to give a shout out to a recent supporter. Special thanks to Ryan, who's a member. Now, Ryan recently saw this video expert interview and he writes, "Wonderful interview, Rachel. Very informative. So many gems in this video, especially the segment about comping mobile homes. Other gurus teach to compare prices on Facebook Marketplace, Zillow, etc. I'm not saying those are not effective, but comparing similar mobile homes for the subject property in the same park makes sense because of location. I would have to assume the park managers would know how much homes are going for in their communities." Great to hear, Ryan. I'm glad that you got a lot out of the expert interview and that you learned a ton of information that you might not hear about all the time, especially when it comes to gurus teaching this stuff online. And for anyone interested, we did talk about free listing sites such as Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist in the expert interview, including Alex's thoughts and perspective on it as a licensed real estate agent, as well as my thoughts on the subject. So definitely check this out. And just in case you missed it, I did do a video walkthrough of the support page and what it's all about. You can find it on episode 52 of the podcast, where I celebrate the 2-year anniversary of the show, what it means, and my plans going forward. You can find it at www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/52. And if you'd like to check out this video expert interview with Alex Plam of ocmobilehome.com, a licensed real estate agent specializing in the mobile home industry, where we talk about how to search online for mobile homes as a lead generating strategy, including all of the information that I mentioned and so much more. You can check it out in the show notes where I provide more information and details. Go to www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/83. Again, www.adventuresinmobilehomes.com/83. Well, that's about it for now. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. And if you've enjoyed the podcast so far, please be sure to share it, family and friends. And be sure to follow me and subscribe. That's about it for now. Until next time, this is Rachel Hernandez, aka Mobile Home Girl of the Adventures of Mobile Homes podcast, signing off. Thanks for tuning in.